Hey guys, my name is Miranda and today I'm here to discuss the latest season of Dimension 20, Burrow's End, which is also the 20th season of Dimension 20, which I feel like is just obviously so serendipitous and cool. So this season is apparently based on Watership Down, which I had never heard of, but when the trailer came out, everyone was like, oh my gosh, they're doing a Watership Down like inspired season. So I looked it up. And Watership Down apparently is an adventure novel by English author Richard Adams. Set in Hampshire in southern England, the story features a small group of rabbits, or wabbits. So obviously we are not rabbits in this, we are stoats, and I think it was heavily implied in the first episode that they took this rabbit's home by force and filled their bellies afterwards. So I haven't read the book, so I was not traumatized by that at all, but I feel like if you had any emotional connection to this, especially as a child, knowing that these characters ate those rabbits is probably going to mess with you a little bit. But yeah, they're not rabbits in this, they're stoats, which there's a tweet that I love. I can't think of what exactly it is, but it's basically like this girl who is like, no matter how many times people explain it, I don't understand why we can't just print more money. And that's me with stoats. Like, I feel like no matter how many times you try and tell me what it is, no matter how many pictures I look up of what it is, I will never understand what it is. I was watching it and my dad like came in the room and they were like talking about like the word stoat came out. And he's like, what's a stoat? And I was like, I genuinely cannot tell you, and I have heard multiple descriptions of it, so I'm really, really excited for this season though. Obviously, we just finished up a fantastic season in Mentopolis. I definitely think that is one of my top 5 ever Dimension 20 seasons. It was just so cool and the cast worked so well together. The story was so intriguing and it was so different. So I was also really excited to see this season because I felt like it also felt different in a way. Like whoever would have thought that we would be getting a season DM'd by a Burrow, which is always a fun part, but about like a family of stoats, and it just seems so different and so unusual, but that made me excited because the last different thing we had was Mentopolis, and that turned out to be so great. So I'm very excited for this one, even though I do feel like it's going to be heartbreaking. The vibe I instantly got watching this, especially like opening with the 2 kid stoats, is there was like a game, I can't think of what it's called, but like if you watched Amazing Phil, when Dan and Phil had like that gaming channel that was so popular in like 2016 that was like all the rage that like consumed my life. Phil played this game where it was like he was a mom fox and like he had to take care of all these baby foxes and get them to survive was like the objective of the game, but you could very easily lose the babies like just like that. Like they could get taken by like a bird, a predator, they could get lost in the river, they could get just lost in general. Like you had to keep track of them and keep them alive, and it was just like cute because like obviously baby foxes and like the animation was very cute, but it was stressful AF because it's like you're just like, oh, look at like the cute little tree over there, and then you turn around and 2 of the foxes are just disappeared and dead, and it's like, oh, now you're down to 3. It's stressful, and that's the vibe I'm getting from this. Is like it's very cute, it sucks you in with like, oh, they're little stoats, they're fighting, they're climbing, they're so cute, and then it's gonna be like bam, you know, like they're just gone, and that stresses me out because I feel like Abria obviously pulls no punches, and this is going to be very like, I'm very attached to them already, and it's only been 1 episode and things have already started to go wrong. Like everyone's safe for now, which is great, but we've got this whole thing with the blue taking over them. So I really feel like the blue is going to be some kind of human-based thing, just because I feel like that's going to probably be the message, is like, you know, humans are ruining this, and then also to be like so emotionally attached to these animals and have all these bad things happening to them and being like, I will fight whoever is doing this to them, and then it like being a person, I think would be very like like, you know, just pull off the villain's mask and it's like a mirror and you're like, oh no. But I do feel like it could also just be some kind of other force, but I just feel like right now I'm leaning towards human. Like even like the gas kind of thing that was going in at the end, my initial thought was that it was like a wildfire because they were saying they saw like patches of that stuff before, like it's very unnatural, it's not like nature made or whatever. So I thought, oh, maybe it's just like a wildfire that spread out of control, but then the way it was spreading didn't seem like that. And again, I haven't been around, thankfully, many fires in my life, but I feel like the way they were describing how it was low to the ground is probably not, right? Because I feel like the advice they give you with a fire and like the smoke is to get low to the ground. So it's something different. It's something that someone seems to have brought in, we saw at the end, because they're like, I couldn't tell if it was like the person's walking and then like this like noxious gas thing is like following them, or if it's like the person's walking and then they're pushing the gas like towards the people, or the stoats I should say. But obviously there's some thing, some humanoid figure, but who knows if it's also just like an angrier animal or something like that, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's just so much to explore with this world, but also so much heartbreak. I personally have never had to deal in Dimension 20 with a player death. Like, I didn't watch the Crown of Candy season, where obviously they lost people, and then every other season that I've watched, they've come close to maybe losing someone, but the characters have always made it through. So I think if we do lose anyone, I mean, but particularly Jason or Lila, I will be very upset. I mean, I love them all. And that's what I think is really, really great and really impressive is last season with Mentopolis, I love the cast. I feel like they gelled so well. And they obviously do have that a lot. Like, I feel like the last one that like just didn't have the chemistry for me was the Ravening War, for obvious reasons, because I feel like they just kind of had to keep secrets from each other and stuff like that. But I feel like this cast very quickly has clicked. Like, you believe they're a family, and I feel like I'm so attached and interested in all of them. Like, I love Thorn. I think he's so cool. I love that he's like this reluctant cult leader. And Abria had some absolutely amazing lines when talking about him. I love the line where it was like he went from like someone who was just wanting to survive to someone who was wanting to live when he met Viola. I think that was so sweet. But then the line that really also got me and stuck with me was when everything was going off with this like gas cloud. I think we can call it a gas cloud, right? Like, it like took people out. But when everything was going on with that, Abria was like, so do you go to save your people and warn them, or do you go to warn your person? And like, that's just kind of like the trolley problem summed up in a way, if like you also knew those 5 other people, right? Like, just like, who is the one that you need? And I feel like you can already feel that intense, strong familial connection that they all have. And I feel like they all play the part so well, you know, like the kids obviously so cute, so adorable. I love that Jason is just like wanting to climb and jump off everything, and Lila is like inquisitive and eavesdropping, because I feel like that was more like me as a kid, like wanting to know like what the adults were like quote unquote hiding from you, but also just like wanting to know what's going on. So she's like eavesdropping around and stuff like that. And then Ava, I feel like, is obviously great. Erica's always great, but Ava is just so nailing it. I feel like as that like grandma mother, where it's like, you know, she's seen all this shite, and it's like you respect that and you love her because of that, but she also in a way doesn't get you, and then also like can't talk fully about what's happening. So she's talking in like very like unclear terms, where you're like, can you just be clear with me? But like, obviously she doesn't want to, because she doesn't want to think about that and bring the potentiality of that coming back. Like, just seeing her relationship with her daughters, I think, was so interesting to me. And like, that terms of like mother-daughter relationships are so interesting to explore, right? Because there's so many different dynamics to them. And I feel like Brennan is doing a great job playing a single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves her kids and never stops. Like, I feel like I was almost watching this episode, and like at points I'm like, he doesn't seem like happy, like excited to be in this. And then I realized it's because his character is so worried all the time, you know? Like, there's this like anxious anxiety about like they lost their husband, and their mom is like pressuring them to get married to someone else. Their sister lives somewhere else now. They've got 2 kids who lost their dad and are like asking questions, and you know, you want to keep them safe. And I just feel like he fully encapsulated that of just like wanting to keep his family safe. And I just feel like that was just so amazing. Like, they just do so well with all the parts and the whole family. Like I said, I just care so much for them already, and that's why it's going to be even more heartbreaking and crushing if something were and probably will happen to any of them, because it was very easy to see like the whole Constitution saves. I mean, this was like round 1. Okay, this was round 1 of like the various boss levels that we're going to be doing, and they might not all be, I don't even want to say easy, but just like to escape and to see coming. Like, sometimes they might just be walking into them, sometimes someone might be left behind, and it's just very, very stressful. So I'm concerned, because like I said, I care so much about these characters, even though we've only had them for 1 episode. I think the biggest thing right now is obviously finding out more about the Blue. It's kind of uncertain-ish exactly what happened to their dad. They say like their dad fought the Blue with Vale and Viola, but not really said like what exactly happened to him. Thorn himself has also seen some stuff that they've all acknowledged, that like his life before was not easy at all. So it'll just be interesting to wrap more around this and see like who exactly knows what, because it seems like Brennan's character knows what the blue is. And it seems like Ava's character knows what the blue is. Thorne knows what the blue is in like some vaguish terms. But it seems like they know more so than like just the average Stoat, because when Ava was trying to warn that one guy that was flirting with Brennan's character that like they needed to go, like the blue was coming, he was like, the blue, what are you talking about? Like the blue is just like a story that we tell our children at bedtime. So it seems like they have more of a real reaction to it and seem to believe in it more, which would make sense if that's how she lost her husband, that they would believe in it and obviously understand it more. But I also wonder if there's going to be levels to the blue that even like they don't understand, you know, because I feel like a lot of our reactions we saw from like Lila and Jason, who have like never seen anything like this before in their life. So of course they're like, what is this? Like, what are you guys hiding from us? But I feel like even the way Abria was describing it when Lila made the roll to see like if she understood this or recognized anything about this, of being like, you know, you see the people in your life, your parents, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle, who are like so in control and know everything, and they're scared of this thing. So I feel like that makes it seem like there's something they're keeping from you, and there's something they know that maybe the rest of the Stoats don't know, you know? So it'll be just interesting to see how that develops, because I want to see if it's like they fully know what the blue is, or if there's even more that they don't know about it. Like if this is something they've been preparing and hoping never comes, but know might come, or maybe even have potentially dealt with before in the case of Ava on a different scale. Or if it's going to be like the kids where it's like, this is way bigger than they even thought, you know? So I like that there's different levels to it of what they know exactly and what they are expecting from this. And I just think, yeah, it's going to be a very, very intense season, but I'm really excited. That first episode, like, I was invested with a capital I, okay? Like, I was like, I love this family. I want to adopt them all. And if anything happens to them, like, even when they were talking about how, like, best lives, like, they only live for, like, 4 years, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna ignore that. Like, I'm just gonna pretend it's like, you know, like dog years, where it's like 1 person year is like 7 dog years. They're gonna live a long, full life. So I'm nervous, but really, really excited and really attached to these characters. I think they're so fun. I think the chemistry at the table is so great already. And like, it makes sense because they're a family, but I feel like they all just play their role so, so well. And it just makes me excited to see what comes, but also really, really scared to see what's coming, since this first episode literally had like chemical warfare that killed a bunch of characters. We might not know their names, but killed a bunch of characters. Rest in peace, Mila, okay? So yeah, if you haven't seen this episode, please feel free to leave your thoughts about the new season and the first episode down below in the comments. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!